welcome back to episode 118 of Tall Boy Radio. Now, as a little bit of a disclosure before we introduce the two folks who are here with me tonight, we need to say, sorry, Andy, we made a bit of a balls up. We should have been having Todd and Johnny on from the Toddcast, as we explained, doing a little bit of cooking, trying out some reload rub in the kitchen and setting off a few smoke alarms. But there was a little bit of clash and Johnny couldn't make it, so we've had to rearrange for about 2 weeks' time for that. So keep an eye out for that one because I think it's going to be a fun episode. And when we were rearranging, Andy did actually mention that he couldn't do Tuesday when we were supposed to be recording on the Monday. And then Gaz wanted to shift it to the Tuesday because it was better for him with him being back at work. And we kind of neglected to remember that Andy wasn't available on the Tuesday. So if you're watching this back, dude, I hope you had a good time in Milton Keynes. So we apologise for our hand in that one. It wasn't intentional, I can promise you. But I have got two folks here with me tonight. We've a regular host and a guest host. So, Gaz, do you want to say hello first and tell us what it is that you're drinking?
Yeah. Hey, up, guys. Looking forward to this as ever. Great to catch up with the lads. Sorry that Andy couldn't be here. Andy, I apologise. Like Adam, but in honorarium, whatever the word is, of Andy, I am drinking a beer out of the glass that he kindly provided, which is a Leffy Woo. And the beer that I'm drinking at the moment is, you can see that there, is Elvis Juice, which is decent. And if that goes, or should I say when that goes, I also have another one there, which is one of Andy's drinks he recommends, Beavertown Loop Lloyd, 6.5%, I think, 6.7. So looking forward to that one as well.
Absolutely. And we are joined by a guest host, which is Dave. If you want to say hello and tell us a little bit about what you're drinking, dude.
Hi, folks. I've got a, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, a Rheinbacher Wise beer.
Yep, that loop.
That loop sounds good to me.
It's basically a cloudy wheat beer. So it's you'd like it, Gaz. It's a left garden-y type drink. Yeah.
Awesome. A sort of a slightly cloudy wheat beer, sort of a Hoy-Garden-ish, maybe sort of esque to it. So yeah, I do quite like those type of beers.
Looks good. Now I'm having a couple of beers on here. I've got a couple of beers to drink tonight. Sour beers. What are you feeling on sour beers, guys?
There's one sour beer in particular that obviously always gets a mention that isn't great, and I don't particularly like sour beers, but hey ho.
Yeah, well, I have picked up these. Yeah, I picked up a couple of these. So we got the cherry, and we got the chocolate cherry of the Duchess. I'm not drinking them tonight. I'm not brave enough. But yeah, we picked these up from a shop in Cheadle Hulme. Actually, myself and Andy popped in on Saturday while we were out, and it's called the Bottle Stop. If you're in that area, well worth a visit. Fantastic range of beers, fantastic range of wines, and a pretty decent range of whiskies and other stuff too. But the beer I am drinking tonight, or beers I should say, because there's two of them. The first one I'm drinking is a Vault City triple fruited mango, and it's 6.2%. Absolute gem of a beer. I'll show you the colour if you're watching on YouTube in a second. And the one I'm going to follow up with is another Vault City, which is the blueberry maple, a little bit stronger, 6.6. And they're sour beers. And if you know anything about Vault City, they use a lot of fruit in their brewing process. So there's a lot of real fruit in these beers. And I think you can tell when you look at it. So if you're watching on YouTube, that is lovely and thick and full of mango. And it's almost like drinking mango juice that's sour and alcoholic. You can't go wrong with that, can you?
Oh, I thought you were drinking orange juice, to be honest. But you pretty much are. So, mango juice.
I tell you, it's fabulous. It's fabulous. I probably won't be any further than 10 foot away from a toilet tomorrow, but I'm going to make the most of it right now. It's a lovely image for you folks. So we've got a real agenda, no real plan for tonight. We did want to talk about a few things. Gaz led an episode a couple of weeks back where we talked about some things that were in the news at that point in time. So we're going to touch on a little bit of that at the start, but mainly sporting news. And we're going to play a bit of a game called hyperbole or superlative. Does that sound like fun?
Sounds bonza.
Sounds like you need to tell what those words means before we get going.
Okay. Well, a superlative is when you say, this is the best thing ever, and it genuinely is, whereas hyperbole is when you say, this is the best thing ever, but you're really just hammering it up and you're being a little bit ingenuous when you say it. So we want to talk a little bit about some of the sports that happened over the weekend. Now, myself, Gaz, and Andy were all invited around to watch the boxing around our good friend Bill's house. And if you're watching, Kerry, or you're listening, Kerry, hope you're feeling better, because unfortunately we didn't go because Kerry caught COVID. So I hope you're feeling very, very well soon and it doesn't affect you too badly. But yeah, the boxing. So a lot of people are talking about that uppercut that finished the fight. What
Yeah.
was it superlatives or was it hyperbole? What are your thoughts on that, guys? And I apologise, Dave, because I know you're not a big fan of violent sport.
I didn't watch the fight live. Like I say, we were invited round to Bill's, and I think without Kerry sort of getting COVID, I think possibly I would have gone round, because I do quite like boxing. I do quite like my MMA as well, but I do quite like my boxing. I think that was superlative. I've obviously seen the highlights back and watched the highlights back, and it is a hell of a punch. The uppercut, and I made a joke with one of the. I say joke. We were talking about it with one of the kids at school, and I said actually it's a punch that could have separated his head from his shoulders. It's a typical, like, in a cartoon, it's like kapow sort of thing. It's like, geez. I'm not so sure that the sort of White's come out and said, oh, he pushed me and I stumbled and all of that. I didn't get that. I thought it was an absolute beauty. And when he stood up, yeah, he was probably a bit dazed, and then when the ref was like walked towards me and he was like, whoa, sort of thing, ref absolutely, in my mind, was right to stop it. I thought it wasn't a great fight up to that point, but I thought that punch was a beauty. It was well timed, it's well thought out, well planned. It got him on the way in. Perfect punch.
Have you seen it at all, Dave?
I don't even know who the fight was between.
So yeah, actually, I should say that really for anybody who isn't.
I'm assuming you're on about that fight, Adam. I mean, there were going on, but it was that one I assume you're on about.
Yeah. So Tyson Fury took on Dillian White, and like I said, the landing of it was perfect because he jabbed him first to get the range, and then it went straight in underneath his guard, round the back, caught the guy. I didn't think he caught him that flush. Actually, it seemed more of a glancing blow. And what struck me was what Gaz says there was the push. I just thought that was a little unusual. You've got the guy, you've landed him. Why do you then push him? Why do you not then just stick another one on him? I found that a little bit unusual. And let me just say at first as well, I like Tyson Fury. I love listening to the guy talk. Speaks a lot of sense about mental health. Didn't like him in his early career when he said a lot of unpleasant things about people. Yeah. But now, I'll give him credit for credit where credit's due, because obviously the guy has had a lot of mental health problems and is an absolute pillar when he stands up and talks about it. It's wonderful to hear. But yeah, did you not think that was a little bit unusual, the push?
I just thought that, and I don't know whether or not after the uppercut, I don't know whether or not Dillian White was almost too close, and then Fury was trying to then find his range again. And I think there was a tiny little bit of a delayed reaction. There was a punch from... It reminded me of quite a few years ago. And I want to say it's Mike Tyson. It might have been someone like, I want to say Trevor Burbeck, but it might not have been. So any boxing fans out there, any American boxing fans, guys over in the pond that we talk to a lot, Todd, Johnny, Tiddy Shiner, any of the fans out there, happy hour guys, whoever you may be, sort of hit me up. It reminded me of Tyson. It might have been Burbeck, and he threw an uppercut, and it was a bit like a delayed reaction. It was like he threw it, and it wasn't like an instant land, I'm knocking him out. It was like he threw it, and then it was like, oh God, he's gone, sort of thing. And I wondered whether or not, as he threw it, White was coming in, and I wonder whether he almost got too close. So he landed the punch, and he's almost too close, and then he's just sort of gone, and then he's sort of gone over. I don't know. So obviously you think it was a push, then, is that what you?
Oh, it was a push. He pushed him over. And don't get me wrong, the guy might have been out on his feet, and that's why he's done it. Yeah. I'm not sure, actually, when you're watching slow-mo, that could be the case. But I think when you watch it in real time, I don't think he has the time to make that decision.
No,
I find it unusual.
I wonder whether or not, and the telling thing for me was as I say, when Dillian White got up, and the ref, they do the old sort of shake of the gloves, don't they? It's like, are you okay? So the ref's like, walk towards me, and he was like, and he sort of went sideways, didn't he? And you think, oh, bloody, that's it. So whether it's a push or not, clearly you could see that Dillian White was not in a fit state to continue. And actually the damage was done by the punch. And the punch, in my mind, was an absolute beauty. And I just wonder whether or not, as Dillian White's coming in, Fury's hit him, but the momentum of White's then continued to get him into, and Fury's just sort of gone almost to find the range again, ready for another punch. I don't know. I think he was almost too close to hit him again, if that makes sense. I don't know. I'll be happy to chat to others who maybe thought it was a push and therefore undeserved. And I know Dillian White's come out and said he pushed him and stuff. But I just think the reaction after he got up.
No, I'm not saying it's undeserved. I don't doubt that punch, because when the first angle I saw it from, it looked like a glancing blow. Then the next, when you see him catch him clearly under the chin, you think, I would not like to take that. That looked like it's going to sting a little bit. And my kind of thoughts was, when he pushed him over, there's always this little bit of controversy. Tyson Fury's retiring now, is he? Or is he? Or is Dillian White going to get him back in the ring because it was an undeserved win, the push? I just think I'm sceptical about these things. I feel it was intentional and it was planned.
Almost as though we planned for there to be a little segue into MMA, because obviously in the post-match press conference, post-fight press conference, Fury effectively called out Francis Ngannou, or Ngannou, depending on how you pronounce it, and he's the heavyweight. He's the MMA heavyweight champion. He's UFC heavyweight champion, and he sort of said, whether it's in the octagon, or in a cage, or whether it's in the ring, I want to fight him. That intrigues me. Don't know whether I want to just go straight boxing again. I'm quite happily to do exhibitions and earn his multi-millions. I assume that was a dig at Mayweather. But will we see him in the ring again? Obviously, the clamour will be for him to unify the belt. Whoever wins out of probably Joshua and Usyk, then Fury to fight them, unify the belts, retire undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. That's how I see it.
I personally don't see him retiring. I think he needs it, to be honest with you. He's one of those people who needs that in his life, needs the focus.
I think you might be right, and I think that the mental health sort of reference that you made earlier is a hit the nail on the head. I think he's somebody that needs to be driven, needs to focus, needs to concentrate on something in life, because I think otherwise he would struggle with some of the demons that he has had, and whether or not that's, I don't suggest for a minute he has ever done this, but substance, alcohol abuse, whatever it may be, you can see with the millions he's now earned, it would be a relatively easy path to go down to start going, particularly when, like I say, when you've had so many highs in your life, that to struggle with the lows of not fighting again. I still think he'll keep an eye on Joshua and Usyk, and whoever wins that fight, I think probably Fury's got one more left in him, I think, and it'll be the winner of that one. That's what I think.
Interesting. Well,
didn't he get banned for drug use from fighting for 18 months or 2 years or something? Or was that something else?
I don't know.
He likes his beer.
Well, when you see photos of him not in training camp, you think, bloody hell. And actually, it's amazing he can lose that much weight, because you see him and you see the belly on him, you think, crikey.
He was about 30 stone.
He's a big guy. I mean, he's a big guy at his fighting weight, but when he's at his non-fighting weight, you think, Jesus. I mean, you might be right, Dave. I don't know. I genuinely, I don't know whether or not I don't remember it, but you might be right. He could well have been. And again, that just goes to, I think he is one of a bit like Ricky Hatton. He struggled with his demons. He's now gone into training and promoting and stuff. I think you find lots of sort of.
Isn't he making a comeback as well, Ricky Hatton? Is he not fighting again?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, he's fighting. Another bit. Is it? Who is it?
Somebody else old, I said.
Oh, right. Sorry, I thought you were going to tell me who it was. I
hope so.
Yes,
you're right.
Is it Marco Antonio Barrera? Is that who it is?
It is.
Because he's another golden oldie sort of thing, isn't he?
He's looked after himself a little bit better.
Yeah, I don't suspect he's down the Nag's arms sinking 12 pints of Guinness every night or whatever it is. Sorry, Ricky, if you're listening, by the way.
I fear the worst for that one. I do. I fear the worst for that one. Yeah. So let's evolve Dave then a little bit more in a sport that he knows a little bit more about, football. So we'll go for superlative or hyperbole on this one then. I read on Saturday afternoon, because I was out before I got the chance to watch it back on Match of the Day, Granit Xhaka scored a wonder goal against a little team from Manchester. Was that hyperbole or was it superlatives?
I've not seen it.
Dave, I will go hyperbole, I think. I don't get me wrong. I've seen the strike. I've seen the goal. Decent, good strike. You look at the super slow mo. The ball is absolutely just like arrows. There's no curve in it, so he's hit it absolutely pure and crisp. but it's no better than John Jensen all those years ago. Do you know what I mean? It's no better than, oh my God, it's only a Ray Parlour or whatever, but top corner sort of thing. And yeah, don't get me wrong. I think it was a good goal. Was it a sensational goal? Was it? Nah, not for me.
I don't think so. I think he hit it well, like Gaz says. I think he struck it really sweetly, kept it down, really powerful, really low, but against an unsighted keeper. I think the keeper sees that. He's got a much better chance of saving it. It's good height and he's a good distance away. And I'm not taking anything away from the hit because I think.
But what happens is obviously I see De Gea and he sort of goes as if he's trying to look around the defender, doesn't he? So he goes one way and then by the time he's looked and he's seen it, the ball's the other way. So he's look around the defender and then he's had to go back the other way. And by the time he goes back, he can't get there, sort of things. But interestingly, and I'll throw this open to both of you guys. You talk about, and it's on the football front, you look at Jorginho for Chelsea, his penalty miss. And he does his run up, and he does his little hop and a step, and then he strikes a goal. But if the keeper effectively stands still when he's up in the air, he can't do anything about that. Jorginho then has to pick a side. And because of the fact he's jumped up in the air, the keeper then has time to react to which side the ball's going because you can't put that much power on it if you've just jumped up in the air. What he's gambling on is the keeper going early, and then what he does, he just gives the keeper the eyes and he rolls it to the side of the goal. So actually, everyone's like, Jorginho, great penalty taker and all this. Nah, not for me. Not for me, because actually, if your keeper stands still and he just reacts, because he knows that Jorginho is going to jump up, you see. So if he just stands still and then waits, then he's got more of a chance of saving it, in my mind.
That's the gamble of the penalty shootout, though. It's a battle of wits because the keeper's banking that he is going to jump up, but the back of his mind is, if this ain't the time that he does, he's going to make me look very, very silly.
Yeah, but the keeper's on a bit of a not hiding to nothing, but the keeper's got nothing to lose, should I say? Because actually, a professional sportsman with a ball 12 yards away from the goal should be scoring. Because I don't care really how good the keeper is. You're a professional footballer.
Yeah, an excellent penalty taker to me is someone who can put it in the top, 10-inch square, top left, top right, time after time with pace. Yeah. If you do that, it ain't ever going to be saved.
Yeah, and that goes back to a point of you're a professional footballer, so you should be able to do that. So irrespective of whether the keeper goes the right way or not, you shouldn't save it. And I remember Peter Shilton all those years ago, David Seaman said something similar. You can't, as a goalkeeper, you can't defy gravity. So if you're diving full length to your right, the highest that you can possibly get your left hand is halfway up the goal, because you can't all of a sudden just magically levitate higher. The higher if you're pretty much diving bottom right corner, the highest you can get your left hand is middle of the goal. So if the guy hits the penalty mid to high, left or right, he should score. It's as simple as that. Go on, Dave. Sorry.
Interestingly, I was watching a football match on Sunday afternoon. There's a penalty shootout. It was Crewe Ladies versus Tranmere in the Cheshire Cup semi-final, and it was played at Crewe Ground. First time the Crewe Ladies have played there, and they were. And this fits in actually to the superlative one of those
superlative, hyperbole.
And Crewe were winning with about 10 minutes to go, and one of the Tranmere players basically kicked the ball from deep in her own half over the Crewe keeper, who was the only player in the Crewe half, bounced once, back of the net. So I mean, there's no benefit of replays, but on the basis that, if that's what she intended, then that was just brilliant. If she was just hoofing it down the field and it went in, then not. Which it kind of comes back to the free kicks. When is a free kick an absolutely brilliant goal? It's one kick of the ball. What's the movement been like to get into the position? What space have you created? All of that is what makes it brilliant. If the ball's just come to you and you've struck it once, well, you strike it 10 times. If 5 times it goes wide and 4 times the keeper saves it and once it goes in, that's it's obviously great skill, but it doesn't mean it's particularly special, does it?
Yeah, no. and it's and yes, you look at free kicks, penalties in particular. Keeper can be unsighted if there's a wall there, or keeper can perhaps edge the wrong way. And again, it's that body weight thing. If you start moving one way, you can't defy physics and gravity. You can't move that way, and then all of a sudden they just magically go the other way, sort of thing. But the thing that annoys me about penalties is the commentators. Basically, if the penalty taker scores, great penalty. Well, it might not be. It might be a shit penalty. And had the keeper have gone the right way, he'd have saved it. The fact that the keeper chose to go the wrong way and he's gambled and the keeper dives right and the ball goes left, all the commentators are like, great penalty, sent the keeper the wrong way. Well, did he? Did he really send the keeper the wrong way? Or did the keeper just attempt to preempt and dive that way? Had the keeper gone the right way, he'd have saved it. So actually, it's not a good penalty. So you can have 2 penalties, one after another. Middle of the goal, just to the right-hand side. If the keeper goes left first time, it's a great penalty. If the keeper goes right second time, it's an awful penalty. Well, hold on, it's exactly the same penalty. The ball's gone in exactly the same place. It's just that on one of them, the keeper's dived the other way. So it's not a great penalty. I go back to what Dave said. It should be top bins. Top left, top right.
Yeah. Well, the point I was making anyway, with these 2 questions, the 2 hyperboles and 2 superlatives I was asking about originally, we got a little bit sidetracked.
There's your left turn, it's fine.
And that's it. But
who lost on penalties, by the way?
Oh, dude, you think our listeners don't know that? Everybody was glued to that game. I apologise. We actually have someone from the Railway Men podcast
I was going to say,
in about 3 weeks' time.
Okay, so let's just scrub that guest appearance, shall we?
Absolutely not. No, I'm looking forward to that one. So, yeah, my point is, though, and exactly like you say, when you'll say this is a great penalty, do you not get sick of journalism in sports? That it's just throwaway nonsense that gets spouted in terms of, that was the best uppercut I've ever seen. That was a wonder goal from Xhaka. Well, it wasn't. Do you know what? It was a good goal, but it wasn't a wonder goal. He just hit it well, and the keeper couldn't see it.
Yeah.
I get frustrated with it.
Yeah. And you hear sports journalists and commentators and pundits, legend. No. Good. Possibly great. Not a legend. Wonder strike. No. Good strike. Excellent strike. Not a wonder strike. You look at, I can't believe I'm going to say this, prior to his hand of God, Maradona's goal against England, not the hand of God. Amazing. He picks the ball at halfway line, phenomenal. Takes it past 3 or 4, makes arguably at the time one of the best goalkeepers in the world sit on his ass, and then scores. Phenomenal goal, sort of thing. As Dave said, you look at the Arsenal Invincibles, you look at the Guardiola tiki-taka. You've got teams that keep possession for 15, 20, 25 passes, outmaneuver the opposition. The ball gets rolled across the 6-yard box, and the striker taps it in for goal. That's world class because of what's happened for the previous 4 or 5 minutes where they've outmaneuvered, they've outthought, they've passed the ball around the opposition. And that goes back to what Dave said. You've got a statutory ball, you've got a still ball, and you kick it 10 times and you score once. Yeah, great, good skill to score, but come on.
Well, so going back to the Man United game then, did you see the interview with Ian Rush and what he said about the Man United side at the moment? I thought that was really humorous comments.
No, so I can imagine what Souness said and Roy Keane said, but I haven't seen the Ian Rush one.
No, exactly. Ian Rush, they asked Ian Rush and he said, so your Liverpool side back when you had a fantastic side, the last decent Liverpool side, how many goals would you have stuck past Man United? And he said, I think we'd have beaten 2-0. I said, what, just 2-0? That's very very decent of you to say that. And he goes, yeah, but most of us are over 60 now.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that. I thought
that's brilliant.
Somebody else said that, and it might have been. And I heard it was something similar, and it might have been it might have been like Ray Parlour or someone on Talk Sports. So he said, how do you think the Invincibles would get on against the current whatever team? He goes, it'd be close, but I think we'd beat them. And he said, like, why? And he went, well, we're all over 50 now. Do you know what I mean? And it was that sort of tongue-in-cheek stuff. And I thought, fair play to you. You know what I mean?
I'm a Man City supporter now, anyway.
Well,
you're straight,
you might as well be.
I'm a Man City supporter now.
Well, yeah. I mean, but interestingly, so where do you... If you look at Man City now and Liverpool now, so the top 2, where do you think they rank in terms of Premiership all-time best teams? Because there's that argument of Man City, Liverpool now compared to effectively Arsenal Invincibles and the United side that was in and around that.
They're nothing.
The game's changed a little bit, hasn't it? But
they're nothing compared to those sides. The Invincible side is only bettered by one side. And I know it was a fantastic achievement that we didn't lose a game, but we were only second to that Man United side that Ferguson put together.
Yeah.
We had the best players, but Ferguson, he instilled that team spirit better.
Oh, dude, that's a shout. You had the best players.
Yeah. Yeah, we did. We've had the best,
Adam, that's the shout and all.
We've had the best player that's ever played the game in the Premier League. We had Thierry Henry. There's no better player than him. And
so are you excluding the most decorated Premiership player of all time in Ryan Giggs in terms of Premier League and FA Cups?
Yeah, Henry was better than him. Yeah, Henry was better. Yeah, Giggs played for 20 years. Giggs played for 20 years. Yeah, okay. Henry played for 6 or 7. It's not even close. It's not even a competition in my mind. And you know, you speak to you.
All right. So sorry, Dave, obviously, Dave, you can jump in and chime in. So you would take, and I'll try and get it right, Lundberg, Petit, Vieira, and Perez over Giggs, Scholes, Keane, Beckham.
All day, every day. All day, every day.
Oh, dearie me.
Wow.
All day, every day. And I don't think I'm alone in saying that. Don't get me wrong, Man United as a team played better, but we had a better team of individuals. But anyway, I don't want that to get bogged down in where we are with this, because that's not where I want to take this podcast. This is going to be another one of those. This no. This is about this is on the level of those comments I made about Messi that time when I said I didn't think he'd cut it that much in the Premier League if he played. It'll be alongside those. A lot of people saying, "Have you ever seen him play?" Yeah, I have. I still don't think he'd be any good in the Premier League. I think he'd be good, but I don't think he'd be as good as he is in the Spanish league.
Wouldn't be as good as Henry, would he?
No, of course not. Ridiculous.
So when Henry played for Barcelona, then he wasn't quite as good as Messi. Was that because he was too old or too slow or too far?
He was past his best.
All of the above.
and if you listen to the quote, if we want to go down that route, Lionel Messi, what is it he said when he met Henry? He was in absolute awe of the man when he stepped foot in Barcelona, because he'd seen everything that he'd done for Arsenal. And you think, yeah, fair play. That's the respect that man deserves. And
okay, so if we're going down that route, then are we not looking at then Messi like looking to swap shirts with like Ruben Loftus-Cheek or Reece James or people like that, because obviously they realise that they're in the presence of greatness? Is that the same thing or not? No.
I have the same people who want Henry's shirt. There's plenty of pictures of players bickering over who gets Henry's shirt in a game. So the next bit I wanted to bring up then, while we're on the subject of football, we'll keep it with football for a little bit, and we talked about it a little bit on the episode that just myself and Andy did, and are Everton going down?
Yeah, probably.
Do you think they are? Do you think they are, in all seriousness?
Yeah, in all seriousness, yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm an Everton fan. I don't get to games, commitments and this, that, and the other. And I've watched Everton, I'd say, through thick and thin, but it's been thin and thinner, I think. I remember the dark old days when we had to beat Wimbledon on the last day to stay up, and we were losing that game badly, and then we scored I think we won 3-2, was it, and stayed up on goal difference or whatever it was. And I know we're founder members of the Football League, and we're ever present in the Premier League, and we've only ever been relegated from the top division twice or 3 times in our history or whatever it may be. But yeah, I genuinely fear for us this year more than anything else.
You've got a game in hand, though, haven't you?
Yeah, but it's all to use a cricketing analogy. I'd rather have runs on the board. I'd rather have the points and the games in hand, because you've still got to win the games in hand. And you look at
Arsenal know that better than most. We had 3 games in hand and lost all 3 of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Case in point, you look at it and I say, "Oh, games in hand." Yeah, but you still got to beat them. And we haven't won away, or is it we've won 1 away game all year or something? You look at the away game. Oh, we can pick up there. We've got Watford away or whatever. It's like, yeah, we've won 1 all year. There's no written law that says we're going to go there and win. I think we've got Chelsea, haven't we? So we've got Chelsea, we've got Leicester home and away, we've got Watford.
You've got a very unpredictable Palace side. Yeah, you've got a very unpredictable side last day of the season as well.
I think we've got Arsenal as well, haven't we? Last day game of the season. So I think that might be our 6. Is it 6 left? So we've got so Chelsea, Leicester, Watford, Leicester, Palace, Arsenal. I think so. My only hope is I think we've got 3 home games in that. If we can win 2 of them, so let's say we pick up 7 out of those 9 home points, because we're not going to pick up anything away because we're shite. So
you never know. Strange things have happened.
Does it excite you that when they go down, there's a chance that, and it doesn't always happen, but there's a chance that they can do really well, win the championship, come back, win loads of games, have a bit of glory like that, rather than being mid-table mediocrity for like the mid-season?
I think my worry is that we end up doing a Leeds or a Sunderland or a Sheffield United and we go down and down again. That's my worry, is that the finances are such that, and the well, I might get in trouble with the Everton board here, but the misappropriation of finances and the lack of clarity in terms of the transfer market and the long-term vision of all of that. And I could get into, I'll talk about a lot of it, but when you look at over the course of the last however many seasons, 5 seasons, 6 seasons, we're 8th in net spend, or might be the last 10 years or something. This is in Europe, not just Premier League. We're 8th in Europe for net spend, and we're currently 18th in the Premiership. So our net spend over the last 10 years has been like £540 million or something.
Wow.
So that's net. So obviously you take away, your players that you've sold and stuff, but we're in the top 10, and we're currently 18th in the Premiership. So it's like somewhere along the line, there's been a disconnect from Mashiri coming in, and everyone thought he was the saviour, and he's financed or partly financing the building of the new stadium, and that will have an impact. And we might be similar to what Arsenal had to go through a number of years ago, where we couldn't afford transfer fees and we couldn't afford wages because a lot of the money was going into the build of the stadium. What you hope is that then you maintain your Premiership status, the build of the stadium happens, and instead of having crowds of 35,000, you get crowds of 60,000. All of a sudden, you get your seats in. Now, we would fill a 55, 60,000 seater stadium easily.
Even in the Championship, do you think? I think
no. I don't think we would. No.
I think you would. I think
you would if you're winning. If you're winning, you certainly would.
Possibly. I do worry that you're better players. I mean, our defence is probably Championship standard at best even now. So then you take out, if we went down, Anthony Gordon would go, who's been fantastic this year, and I can actually see going to someone like a City. I think he's great on the ball. He's got great technique under the right coach, and I think he could be very, very good. So you got Anthony Gordon will go, Calvert-Lewin will go, Richarlison will go.
You think they will
Pickford will go.
You don't think they'll stay to at least till the January transfer window, and if it's all going well, stay there?
Not a hope in hell. Richarlison will go because he wants to go to the World Cup with Brazil. So if we go down by the start of next season, Richarlison's playing Premiership football or Champions League football for somebody in Europe because he wants to get in the Brazil squad to go to the World Cup. Simple as that. Calvert-Lewin, somebody will come in and say, right, you've gone down, so we'll chuck a cheeky £40 million bid for him. Well, he's going to go for that because which Championship team can you turn around and say can rebuke a £40-50 million bid? There's rumours if we go down and he's not the best player, but Michael Keane will go because David Moyes has said he quite likes him, likes to look at him, so he'll go to West Ham. So all of a sudden you've got Pickford as your keeper, Michael Keane as one of your centre halves, Yerry Mina will go because he's like a crisp packet and he's always injured. You'll then look at your centre midfielders. Alan won't stay. He won't stay in the Championship. You then look at Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison, Anthony Gordon. There ain't much after that, mate. Like, what your squad team is Championship at best. Damari Gray, yeah, he's had a decent season, but he's not a Premiership player, really. Andros Townsend couldn't really get a first-team game at Palace for a number of years. It came to us, he's done okay, but he's not. Solomon Rondon, Christ, I'd rather bloody Sid play up front than Solomon Rondon. You know what I mean? It's like.
So what you're saying then, guys? 18 months time, we'll go and watch him at Vale Park.
Yeah, well, no, because Vale will probably get promoted again, but yeah, honestly, my big worry, and I'm normally a pretty sort of glass half full as opposed to empty sort of guy, but my big worry is if we go down, we'll be favourites to come back up with the bookies.
Yeah.
But I'd be amazed if we made the playoffs. And then you worry then is that, and you only have to look at some of the teams in the Championship. Now, they go down and it's like West Brom, Borough, Forest, big clubs that went down. They should have, parachute payments come in. They then should theoretically get back promoted. And they don't. So then they spend a second season in the Championship. All your players, they say, go on, I'll give you another 6 months, I'll give you another 12 months. They then go. You then can't recruit your big players, so you're recruiting other Championship players from other Championship teams. I just don't see us getting back. Honestly, I don't see us. If we go down, I don't see us getting back for a number of years, and that's a huge worry as an Everton fan. Huge worry.
I hope you don't go down. I'll say that categorically. There's certain clubs, probably it's a little bit, we're a little bit longer in the tooth. We remember these clubs being huge and winning games and winning important games. And given the Arsenal a tussle over the years, recent years, there were times, like you say, that Arsenal, we thumped them 7-1 last day of the season. I remember one game, but like you say, when we invested in our stadium, you saw that invincible side get dismantled.
Yeah,
and we are where we are now, which is probably, if we're lucky, top 4. I'm not taking that for granted. I ain't taking that for granted.
But I do think,
to be honest.
But I do think Arteta is doing a decent job now. I wasn't so sure initially, but give him his due. He's got rid of a couple of trouble causes. He seems to have calmed the squad down. Aubameyang, who's obviously bad influence, has gone.
Yeah.
He seems to have done okay. He's got quite a steely mentality in the team now, and they've got very exciting youngsters: Smith Rowe, Martinelli, Saka. You've got that looks better. That looks decent.
And for listeners on the podcast, not the YouTube, I was just showing the next beer. So
the ruby red ale, the ruby.
Completely random if you were listening, but
it was.
But yeah, so I think he's doing a decent job. But yeah, you look at something like Sheffield Wednesday. You beat them in the FA Cup and the the Carling Cup? Or did they lose 2 finals in the same year to the same team?
It was.
Yes, and actually that was the first. This year could be the first time that happens, because don't pretentious at Liverpool and City in the FA Cup final as well. Is that right?
I'm not sure, if I'm really honest. Yeah.
No, Palace got beaten in semis.
Yeah. I'm not sure. If I'm really honest.
Who won the Carling Cup? Carling Cup, whatever it was. Liverpool beat them 3-1. I'm sure it's Liverpool and City in the FA Cup. And I'm sure that's the first time it's happened since Arsenal, Sheffield Wednesday back in like the early 90s, 91, 92, something like that.
I don't think it is, because I read where they were saying City were going for the double, meaning the Champions League and the Premiership. Liverpool were going for all 4.
Did Chelsea? I don't know. Anyway, I digress.
Chelsea.
I don't know. I lose interest in competitions when Arsenal aren't in them, so I've not paid a whole lot of attention to any of the competitions this year, because we've not been in many of them for very long. So just want to take it on a little bit then as well. So, I take it back a little bit then. Boxing, but it's not so much boxing. Iron Mike Tyson has been in the news as well. Did anybody see that?
Oh yeah.
You on about when he was on the plane?
Yeah. That guy had it coming, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. But I'm amazed that the guy could still then turn around to the guy that got the camera and go, look at this. I'm surprised he didn't absolutely flatten him, if I'm honest. But
I without having any sort of authoritative or first-hand knowledge, I just saw the headlines where somebody said that somebody was winding him up, and Tyson had politely asked him to stop, and he didn't, so he thumped him. So
he wound him up for a very substantial.
I was going to say
it was.
Have you seen it, Dave?
I've only seen a brief clip where you can't see much other than Tyson sort of not really hitting him hard, but just
Oh, if it hits him as hard as he can, that guy's in trouble.
He was just almost not hitting him.
When it was the video, like he's leaning over and he's sort of giving it like that sort of thing, and the guys obviously afterwards he's sort of gone like this. Oh, look at me, sort of thing. Well,
doesn't make it right though, does it? I mean,
no, absolutely.
No, it doesn't make it right. No.
There's a lot to be said about sticks and stones, isn't there? Really, you can't just go hitting someone because they're winding you up.
No. I know what you're saying. I know.
No, but the fact that he's a famous person also doesn't give that guy a right to then think he can just wind him up. No. Would that guy have been doing that to somebody other than Mike Tyson? So therefore, did he only do it because it's Mike Tyson? Therefore, he's famous. You think, oh, I know what I'll do. It's Mike Tyson. He's famous. I'll wind him up. If there was a random guy in front of him, he wouldn't be doing that, would he?
No, probably not. But Mike Tyson, probably could have spoken to the stewards, the stewardesses, or somebody.
Possibly.
I mean, he sat there getting wound up enough to then punch him.
Yeah.
But on the journalism linked to that, I did read it on the BBC, and towards the end it said Mike Tyson is no stranger to trouble, And then he quoted like two things from like 16 and 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's just disgraceful, isn't it? I mean, why bring that up as though that's indicative of current behaviour? It's just
It isn't. Yeah, it isn't. And there's a guy who endured severe provocation from a drunken idiot, and obviously resorted to what he does for a living.
It's just lazy journalism.
It is lazy journalism.
It's as simple as that. It's just lazy journalism. He's a relatively easy target. He's been in trouble before. He's alleged to, been involved in some abusive relationships and alcohol and substance abuse and all that. And what we'll do, we'll just say, "Oh, bad old Tyson again." It's like, come on, seriously. You'd be dredging up the fact that Evander Holyfield's here. I'm surprised there isn't a reference to that all those years ago. You know what I mean? I don't know whether there was or not. I didn't see all the headlines, but it's just lazy journalism for me. This is just
that ear incident has been in the papers again recently because obviously Mike Tyson has his own range of sort of cannabis gummies, and they are in the shape of an ear with a bite mark in it.
He was the guy. Yeah, he went into partnership with. Come on, help me out. Somebody else, and I'm not going to say Joe Rogan, but it's somebody. It might be somebody mixed martial artist. Oh, it was. Was it Conor McGregor and Mike Tyson? Have they teamed up? Aren't they doing some sort of cannabis company or something?
I don't know.
I'm sure they're doing some sort of. They've invested in a cannabis product company. I don't know, but yeah. Anyway.
I always think that back in the day, Iron Mike Tyson, that obviously there's an obvious nickname there to Ironmonger, but Iron Mike was a great nickname for him. But I tagged you guys in a Twitter post of somebody else with a fantastic moniker, the darts player, Owen Bates.
It's Owen Master Bates.
What a great nickname that is.
Do you know what I think they might do, though? I think they might say, it's Master Owen Bates. I think they might. The Master, Owen, as opposed to it's Owen Master Bates. Yeah.
Master Bates.
They're not going to do that. They're going to fall for that, are they?
Well, I'm assuming he's got darts t-shirts and stuff with, Master written on the back or something. And whether he thinks he's Jedi Master or not, I don't know. But surely they're going to have Master or the Master as a nickname, and then you say, it's funny though, that is it. I did chuckle.
Brilliant. I thought that was absolutely brilliant. And he's just signed with Loxley Darts as well, so he's obviously a decent player.
Yeah, I can't for life me think that Russ Bray is going to be like, I know it's not Russ Bray, he's Mark. Who's the guy that does the comparing guy? I can't remember what his name. Jim McDonald. John McDonald.
Yeah.
Wasn't Jim McDonald in Corrie? It might be John McDonald actually. There's a reference for all our American listeners and viewers, Coronation Street. But Master of Ceremonies, that guy, Owen the Master Bates. Yeah, nice.
Brilliant. If we had walk-on music, which we don't for darts in the Monday Night League, Dave, you played a little bit of darts as well. What would your nickname be? I'll go first. I'll give you a few. I'll give you a little bit of time to think about it. But first, I'll just tell you, for viewers of YouTube and listeners of the audio version, I've just cracked open the Vault City Blueberry Maple, and I tell you what, that is a beaut of a beer. But anyway, getting back to the darts nicknames, I always used to say Mark Weaver, who did the darts, the Guinness World Record with us, he should be Mark the Dream Weaver. And have the music, the walk-on music of, on Wayne's World, whenever Donna Dixon was on the screen and Garth was sort of looking at her. And I just think if Weaver came onto that, Mark the Dream Weaver would be outstanding.
Dream Weaver.
That's the one.
I was trying to place the song then, and I was like, it's just come to it. I've got it.
This is sad because I'm thinking of like Adobe Dreamweaver.
Yeah, it's not like
application. No, that's not. No. I thought that's not like good. That's
Spot the IT geek.
I'll tell you. And anyone who knows Mark Weaver knows he has very few applications. Sorry, Mark. Yeah, I always thought for myself, I'd have to be Get You, wouldn't it? on a line with Mr. Owen Bates. Adam, get your Dickinson.
Well, it's funny because the darts team that are playing, we were a couple of the guys are on. Well, one guy has been selected previously for Staffs B, and there's another lad who's improved immensely, who is on the verge of being selected county and this, that, and the other. So, and the guy that played in the he played early on in the season. He played 2 or 3 games for Staffs B, and he said he said, you think playing Thursday night Super League, you get nervous and like, you're shaking like a shitting dog sort of thing, trying to throw the dart. He said, you play Super League and you have a walk-on song, literally, so it'd be like, right, I'm now stepping up to hockey as Adam Dickinson, and you have your walk-on song, and you walk down the whole length of the hall, both teams and supporters. And he said it might only be 100, 200 people, but you're on a stage, big lighting. And he said he got up there and he's like, I can't remember what song he said. He did, I think he did like a Metallica or an AC/DC, might have been a Thunderstruck or something like that. And as he's walking, he's like, Thunder, and he's walking down something, and they're all giving it like all of this, giving it large. He said he got on the stage, he picked up his darts, he was like this.
Oh,
He said he literally was like, oh my God, I'm like, what's going on? And he played okay. He didn't win, he played okay, but he said he didn't play as well as he could off stage. But he said that whole walking through, you've got you've got your song and you've got everybody. He said it absolutely. He said it was just made him so nervous, like unbelievable.
For listeners on a podcast again, Gaz, what was he doing when he got up there? Excellent. Did you get that?
He was waving.
His hand was shaking immensely from left to right, and that goes back to Mr. Owen Bates. But interestingly, so in the darts team we started talking about what music did you have, and I used to say, so when I was playing cricket a number of years ago, and when 2020 first came on, I had Eminem playing. So Lose Yourself. So effectively it was, I'm going out to bat, and it's like, you've got one chance, do not miss your chance to make this opportunity. Last chance comes in a once in a lifetime sort of thing. So I was like, so I would walk out and that was what was playing. So as I was walking out, that was playing. And they said, well, would you have that for darts? And I was like, no, probably not. And actually it got me into thinking I'd really love Piano Man by Billy Joel. So I would be Gary, the Piano Man Pickford. And that would be my darts nickname. So I would be the Piano Man. And then they would play Piano Man by Billy Joel, which is a great song.
And then you can imagine the interview afterwards with Wayne Mardle. So do you play the piano, Gary? No, not a note.
And I was trying to think of a smart way to say, so why is the Piano Man relevant? Well, I've got them on a string. Oh no, they don't have strings, they have keys. Right, okay. So what? And I was trying to think how you could get the Piano Man, but I think that's what it would be. I think if I was to play, I would have the Piano Man by Billy Joel playing.
I like it.
So that would be mine, yeah.
What about yourself, Dave? Have you got any ideas other than sort of Wavy Davy, something like that? I don't know.
No.
Okay. Dave, the knee cartilage?
No. Okay. It doesn't really work.
No.
No, it doesn't really.
Surely you would have to go down like something like Radaman Ding Dong or something like that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, probably
from a nickname from back in the day. You know?
I always like the music, the idea of a walk-on music. Tom Jones, obviously, because of the old Welsh heritage, and something like £200 of Heavenly Joy, although they might have to change it to £300 for me, you know.
I mean, look, it's interesting. Everyone has that. What did you make of Gerwyn Price's change of walk-on? Have you heard? Were you a fan or not? Or
well, first of all, I've never been a fan of his nickname, Gerwyn, because Iceman.
The Iceman.
Done crap. Well, I tell you what, he does on a regular basis. You know what I mean? He gets wound up very, very easily, and he's not cool under pressure. Although his darts are, I'll give you credit where credit's due, but in terms of his general personality, very much not. And obviously, there was another player as well who used to call himself the Iceman years ago. Who was quite famous.
Was it Alan Warriner? Was that who it was? Was it Alan Warriner? Somebody could Google that or get back to me. If Andy was guaranteed.
Andy's Googling now in Milton Keynes.
Andy's Googling it now in Milton Keynes. Yeah, live stream. Come on, Andy, get on it. I'm sure. Was it Alan? What was it? It could be. That's
I quite liked his walk-on music though. In the first place, the Ice Ice Baby.
Yeah.
Went with a nickname.
Was it Katy Perry? Was it he went to?
Katy Perry's Raw.
Yeah.
What is that about? It was weird. I
think it's because he obviously when he hits a 180 or whatever, he gives it the all like come on or whatever, and it's just like I don't know, it just didn't quite fit with me. You know what I mean?
No, I didn't think so. It seems a bit weird. I thought it was a little bit weird.
It's funny because there was a couple of guys over Easter. We went to so we were down in London. A couple of guys went to the Premier League darts in. I think it was Manchester. Is it the?
I saw that. Yeah.
Whatever the stadium's called in Manchester. And I said, "Oh, was it good night?" And they were like, "Yeah." He said, "You got to watch quite a bit of the darts on telly." I was like, on telly. He's like, well, yeah, you get to watch it on like the big screen. So I was like, were you that far away from the stage you couldn't see? They're like, oh God, we're miles away. We're up in the bloody God somewhere. And it was a great night, they said, but basically you just watch the screen, don't you?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, you paid to get there and you paid £7 a pint or whatever it was, and you paid your entry fee. You could have just watched it on telly. And they're like, yeah, but you missed the atmosphere. I was like, what? Loads of drunken pissheads throwing beer all over you? I said, it sounds great.
To watch it down the radar.
I thought of a walk-on song.
Oh, here we go. Go on.
I'd need to have a treadmill, and I could do the Pretenders. I would walk 2,000 miles.
Yeah. Well, that was the Proclaimers to begin with.
I don't remember Chrissy Hines singing that, if I'm honest.
No. It'd be a brilliant cover, though.
See, even when I try, I fail.
Well, I tell you what, then.
And Dave, your specialist subject for tonight is 1980s and 90s pop music.
Yeah. Well, what we'll do then, because the other idea I had for this episode, I'm going to chuck a few of these in. I did have a few other notes, but we got bogged down in football a little bit longer than I expected. Well, I should have expected, actually, that we would have done anyway. But the other idea I had for this, I was going to call this episode, as soon as we realised that Todd and Johnny weren't going to be on, I had to scramble for a few ideas and jot them down. I was going to call it Morally Moribund, and I was going to go through some moral dilemmas. And typically, if you search moral dilemmas, I don't want to chuck you guys under the bus. I was going to give you them in advance, but literally, they're the same ones that come up everywhere, apart from one website where there was a couple of random ones. And frankly, they're all a little bit miserable. So and there are a few here that I've jotted down are a bit miserable, so we may or may not get to them. But my favourite one. So this came under a moral dilemma on one of the websites I looked at. So I took a few of these questions at you now for the last 5 to 10 minutes. Would you rather get punched by a gorilla or punch a small child?
How hard are we punching the child?
About as hard as you can, I'm guessing. If the gorilla's going to eat, you're going to have to give it the full.
Not
like mine.
Yeah. Pull your punch.
No. What's the point? Because the gorilla ain't going to pull his punch on you, dude. Bear in mind, it's an unusual situation where this comes up where you're required to punch a small child to escape from a gorilla.
You got to take the punch from the gorilla.
Yeah, you've got to be hit by a gorilla, haven't you?
It's probably going to do you quite a severe amount of damage.
I'm sure it is, but it's not funny. I don't even know why I said it's funny, but there was another dilemma, and it's like, would you drop kick a baby for £1 million? What? That's been going around for loads of people like chatting about it. It's like, would you drop kick a baby? I was like, well, how hard do you have to kick it? It's like, well, it's like a drop kick. What? And
just dropping it's not going to do it any good. Let's be honest. If you
drop kick a baby, you get like $1 million or £1 million. It's like, yeah. No.
I'm with you though on that one. Well, first of all, I wouldn't drop a baby for any kind of money, regardless of whose it was. But
you didn't say your own. If it's somebody else's,
yeah. But in terms of I'm with you guys. It's like it's gonna. I've seen any which way but loose with that was an orangutan, but a gorilla. Yeah, it was. Yeah, but that's the one. Yeah, the gorillas are quite a powerful beast, but you'd have to take it, wouldn't you? Just on general principle.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right, I'm gonna chuck another moral conundrum at you. I'll try to say that now. That's the sour beer doing that to me. So this is a little bit longer, so pay attention. So your friend tells you that they've committed a crime. It's giving them trouble sleeping at night. You are the only person they feel that they can trust with their confession. A few days later, you read in the paper that someone else has been arrested for that crime. What do you do about it? Bear in mind, they're a good friend. Well, there's.
If it's jaywalking, I'm letting it go. I'll be honest with you.
Okay, so it depends on the severity of the crime. Is that what you're saying?
My kids have these books that are Would You Rather, I think they're called. Would you rather do this or do this? And Alice, she just gives up with me because all I ever say is, wow, is it this or is it that? Or how bad is this? And she said, Dad, you're just not playing.
Well, no.
So Gaz, stop it. Take the information you've been given and just answer the question.
But I think that's a really fair point though, because if it's something insignificant and fairly innocuous, then would you just let it slide and let that dude take the rap, even though you know that they didn't do it?
Yeah.
But then when it gets a little bit more severe, you start.
And I know what you're going to
they're going to
say.
get 25 to life.
Is it manslaughter or murder? Is it ABH or GBH? Is it? And I know what the sliding scale of severity. But I think if it's jaywalking, yeah, I'll let him take the ticket. If it's speeding, yeah, let him take the ticket. And so what? I think the severity of the crime, the nature of the crime, would dictate what I would do there.
Grass them up. It's a theme, and I have listened to a recent episode where I was basically grassed up on some forms filled in for police.
Yeah.
I tried not to grass you up.
Well, I wasn't going to rake that bad boy up actually, but no, I'm with you on that one. I'll gloss over as we move back to the speeding thing. So say it's a speeding thing. This dude could get banned, could lose his job, could have terrible effects on his life, and he ain't done it, and you know he ain't done it.
No, I'm too honest, to be honest. Yeah. But no, I
suppose if it wasn't severe, and you turn around and say those people said, "Oh, I wouldn't say anything because it's not that severe." Well, actually, then just tell your mate to just take the cop. Then it's not that severe. It's going to be 3 points or 6 points or whatever. Take the consequences that go with it. I suppose. I don't know.
I've got a bit of context here to put why mine and Gaz's mindsets might be a little different on this. You remember an incident back in the cricket club a long time ago?
Oh, yeah. Go on, tell us that one. Our listeners don't know it.
Okay, so we were drinking in a local cricket club, and we were members, and Gaz was a playing member because Gaz played a lot of cricket. So we were able to lock up at the end of the night, and we were in there playing on the fruit machine, and I happened to have on my key ring a key that fitted the steering wheel lock on the car, and I just said, "Oh, that looks like that fits the bottom of the fruit machine," and I put it in to just see if it had opened the bottom of the fruit machine, and the key got stuck, and I couldn't get the key out at all, and I said, "This is terrible. I need to go and speak to, I can't remember his name, the chairman who lived on Eaton Road," and Gaz said. Ted, was it? Yeah. And Gaz says,
Ted, yeah.
Just snap it off with your foot. Let's go. And I didn't. And
denial knowledge of that.
I went round to his house and apologized. And was it Doreen? Was Doreen his wife?
Yeah.
And I remember her answering in a dressing gown. It was early morning because I'd racked with guilt, and I fessed up to what I'd done, and it was still there, the key. I had no intention of stealing anything.
Yeah, it's just one of those, I wonder whether it fits sort of thing.
Yeah. But my first instinct is to go and apologise and fess it up, and Gaz's was to snap the key off and go home.
Yeah, don't know anything about it.
It was just an excuse to go see Doreen in a dressing gown, wasn't it, you dirty bugger?
I'd grass up, I'm afraid.
Yeah, possibly.
Go on, we'll chuck in one last one then quickly, because I'm conscious of getting close to the hour, and this one's a little bit more sinister. So I'll go quickly on this one. So you're in a, oh no, there's another one actually. The other one is really sinister, but this is interesting. So you're in a 2-car crash that causes you to hit and kill a pedestrian. You're met by a tearful woman who is the other driver, yeah? And she mistakenly believes that she has hit and killed this pedestrian, but you know that it was you. Irrespective of who caused the crash, you hit and killed the pedestrian, but this woman believes it's her. Do you allow her to take the blame? I think I know your answer, Dave. Or do you confess?
Confess. Couldn't live with myself. After what I'd done, never.
And then the guilt of putting. Yeah. That's a. Because again, we get, and I know I was a bit flippant about that. I was just a bit flippant about, if it was only jaywalking sort of thing. But when you're getting up to that sort of stuff, then it's not only it's the life of somebody else, but actually it's then the life that you wreck of the other person, because they're going to go to prison for. It's going to wreck their life and their family's life. That's a tough one. You probably. It's hard, isn't it? Because it takes a lot of bollocks to then turn around and say, yeah, actually, you know what? It was me. It does take a lot, doesn't it? It takes a lot to do that. In that situation,
yeah, it would.
It takes a lot to do that, I think.
I don't know. I went around to see Ted and Doreen. It's pretty similar.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I throw back at you, play devil's advocate, you went round to see Ted and Doreen in a dressing gown. You were relatively young at that stage. relatively unattached, didn't have a family, didn't have kids, didn't have any of the responsibilities of being a father, a husband. Yet, that by you saying what you have done and you fessing up, that then impacts on all of those other people's lives to the nth degree.
Yeah, I think I would, because I don't think I could ever sleep easy again, knowing I'd done that. I don't think my Catherine or the kids would appreciate or respect me for doing that. I think they would rather me be honest and take it on the chin.
Take the consequences, and deal with the consequences as they like. What about you then for that one?
It's a tough one. I can't. I'm sort of with Dave on this one, but I think I would wrestle with my conscience at first, because you've been presented with a get out of jail free card, effectively, aren't you? And you know that if you just let this woman take the rap, that your life can then go on as normal and you can enjoy your freedom and what have you.
But it's whether you can, your life can go on as normal, and would that then eat yourself up, and then down the line would that then cause you to then become depressed because of the decisions that you've made and go down that route and all sorts of it's a tough one, that is.
But you're in that moment there, you know what I mean? You make that rash decision. You're presented with a get out of jail card free. I do think there's a little bit in the back of your mind is going to think, it was you did it. Just because you think afterwards, you might as well go and say you done it, because you're going to live with the consequences for the rest of your life, and it's probably the consequences are worse knowing that you've got away with it scot free. It makes it twice as bad. But I just thinking that in that flitting second, it would cross your mind.
I think if you were allowed to reflect on it and maybe the impact it would have on your long-term mental health, I think you might be more inclined to say, yes, it was me. I think in that snap moment of you've done it, if she's walked, you'll go, oh my God, I can't believe I hit her. And that 1 second, and you haven't got time to think about it, because even when you asked the question, we probably had 5 seconds, 10 seconds, whatever to think. But in that 1 second, part of you go, and you think, oh.
You see, I don't know. I think back, and again, it's from my car crash that was mentioned in a previous episode, which was actually pretty accurate to my memory. There's one particular difference, but my instinct was to go and phone the police and tell them I'd had an accident.
Yeah, it was.
Rather than
without telling anybody, and we just thought we saw people lying on the ground and thought Dave was decapitated somewhere.
That was actually a bit different, because what I'd done was gone round, because we were on a blind corner, so I'd gone round to make sure there was no cars coming. Then I'd come back and said to one of you to go there, and I went and then made the phone call. So I did disappear, but it was to make sure no cars were going around the blind corner. But my instinct was to go and tell the police I had an accident, and I didn't have to at all. But that was my default instinct to do that.
Yeah, and I say, I say fair play. I think there's lots, and that's a tough one, because I think lots of people in that fraction of a second would not necessarily grasp the get out of jail free, but I think they would. And it's hard to then rationalise. I think the longer you left it, and you said, okay, maybe the day later you have the opportunity to say whether it's you or not you. And you have that 24-hour period, and then that might give you more time to rationalise your thoughts. I don't know. It's a hard one, isn't it? I don't know. It's a hard one.
It certainly is. And it seems to me a wonderful time to mention our good friends at Ollie's.
It does. It does, absolutely. Let's mention those bad boys. Yeah.
So they kindly sent us through some stuff to try out, didn't they, guys? So you've got your different pretzels as well. They've
gone.
Have you eaten them all? Of you, fair play? Do you enjoy them?
I have. I did enjoy them. Yeah. The chili ones were nice. I do quite like the sour cream one though. I think they were my favourite out of them.
Okay. I've not tried them yet, so I'm looking forward to trying them. So yeah, sent us those, and I ordered myself as well. I've ordered some of their nuts as well, so I ordered a case of their nuts. And I tell again with those, dude, the chili ones are the good. So you got the chili and lime, the sweet chili, which is probably my favourite actually, and the smoky barbecue. But they are fantastic products. And if you want to try them, get yourself along to ollies-ollies.com. We'll put the notes to that. We'll put the website, in our show notes, and use the promo code Tallboy Radio, all one word, all capitals, to get yourself 20% off your order when you place it. Great value. And the other thing that we like about Ollie's as well, is that with every order that you place with them on their website, they donate a school meal to a child in need with the help of One Feeds Two. So we like people to do good things for people in need. So it's one of the reasons why we wanted to work with them. And also they all have asked me to mention as well that their chocolate covered pretzels are available in 900 Sainsbury's locals up and down the country. So definitely give those a go. They go particularly well with beer, and I'll find out how well they go with this maple and blueberry sour beer shortly, because I tell you what, I think the salt will go very nice with that. So after all that big mouthful there, that brings this episode to a close. Anyone want to egg me on and say something controversial about football before you go?
No, nothing controversial. No, I think no, all good. We've done controversy. Let's put it in the bin.
Yeah,
I just quite fancy some chili nuts, to be honest. Now you just showed me the packet.
I tell you what, if you like chili nuts, get your dressing gown on, head around to Doreen's.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, that just about wraps up episode 100, whatever it may be.
118, yeah. So who wants to say their goodbyes first?
Yeah, I'll go first. It's been a good laugh. Time seems to have flown by this evening. It's been great. I did quite enjoy talking about sort of sport and stuff. But yeah, enjoy tonight. Really looking forward to what we've got to come up. Again, head over to Ollie's Pretzels and check those bad boys out. And yeah, see you all next week. Gaz out.
Thank you, Dave.
Yeah, it's great to be on the podcast again. It's always good to join you guys. Appreciate it. Cheers. Gaz out.
Well, you're welcome. And again, another apologies to Andy. We kind of stitched up a little bit accidentally by the changing of the date. So hope you had a good time in Milton Keynes, even.
Milton Keynes. Brand
Milton
new
Keynes, yeah. Yeah, it's like a new cleaning product. Those will be our next sponsors. But just one last thought. Milton Keynes, yeah. Actually, there is a Milton fluid which is used for cleaning. Actually, I think, isn't there? Maybe that's where they got the idea from this.
Sterilising, isn't it?
It's sterilising fluid, yeah. So just leave you one final thought. We talked about the darts. Raymond van Barneveld. Anybody know what his manager's called?
Phil.
No.
Tom.
Ben. He's Dutch, so it's Ben de Kock. True story. And on that note, see you later. Jobs are good. So it should start to say recording.
Yeah. Yup.
We'll leave that in.
Edit that one out.
Nope. Yeah, we will.
That's the intro.
That's the intro done.